This week on The Wise Guys.
Going through these Instagram pages, and we don't even realize, and many people may believe that they have depression, and many people do have depression, but sometimes we don't realize what's the trigger. And you could have been triggering yourself every single day.
That's
looking
true.
at this social media, and you weren't even accusing the social media of causing the trigger. You were just thinking it was your life or yourself. But it was you constantly comparing, like a ritual every day. You said it was a ritual.
Very true.
Every single day. And that's like almost, it's like we're harming ourselves and we don't even know it. And then we
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Kevin Anglade, and you are now tuning in to the Wise Guys podcast, brought to you by Flowered Concrete. Check it out. Yo, what's going on? This is your boy, Kevin Anglade.
This is Mark Pruden.
And we are the Wise Guys podcast. Back again for another week, but yet the final week. Mark, how's it going, brother, man? This is it, man. Episode 25, man. We done made it.
Yeah, man. Everything is beautiful. Happy with the productive season. Lots of new listeners, lots of engagement on Instagram, so it's really cool.
Yeah, man.
Really cool to see the community coming together.
Without a doubt, man. And Wise Community, as every week, we bring up a topic that we think that you all will find to be very interesting to talk about. And for those of you who are new to the Wise Community and haven't really listened to the show, the podcast is basically a show about, growing in self-development and really improving your lives as a millennial, especially navigating, through the roadblocks and challenges that we find en route to success. And, we just want to be able to continue to grow and share these thoughts and these sentiments with you. So, we're just happy to have you all, and we just want to keep building. And on our very first episode, we talked about the Gram's illusion. So like the kind of illusion the Gram, that being Instagram or social media in general, gives you in regards to one's own life or the lives of others that you see on the internet. And Mark, I think you're going to find this final episode for this very first season to be very, very interesting, actually. So this episode 25, is actually called For the Gram, all right? For the Gram, the new reality television, all right? And our first segment is actually called A Mirror, quote-unquote reflection. I guess there's no other way but to get right into it. Mark, ready?
Ready to go.
Cool. So, let's see. How should I do this here? Matter of fact, why don't I read the quotes first, and then from there, we'll pick it up from there. All right, so, Mark, I went on The Guardian, this website called The Guardian, and there was an article about young women who go on Instagram and they basically talk about, well, these women on Instagram, they flaunt like their bodies, or, they post pictures according to how they want people to perceive them, whatnot. So they basically wrote in this article, all of these women, of different ages and different categories, they basically wrote on this article in The Guardian saying how social media is destroying their lives as we know it, and how they've had to keep a facade in order to keep up an image in regards to who they are as a person. And I thought it was very interesting, and I thought we could just kind of like dive into it, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Right. So let's see. So I'm seeing in my notes here that this is actually segment 2. Oh man. All right. Well, I'll save it for segment 2. So let's start off with the question first before we get into some of those profiles. So the first question is, do you think we as people, do you think we reflect what we see or observe in the media? Again, so do you think we reflect what we observe in the media, whether it be TV shows, entertainment, music videos, and so I'll go a little bit more in depth, right? For men, it would be like cars or money, right? And as opposed to women, it would be like clothes or like body image or like makeup. So do you think we reflect what we observe in the media today?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's all by design. It's made so it happens like that, because almost everything we see on social media is marketing, whether it's paid or unpaid.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are showing off their new cars or watches or jewelry, what they're doing is they're doing unpaid advertising for the company that made that.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't just a surprise to the company. The company expected this free advertising.
Right.
So yeah, we definitely do reflect what we see, because we base our wants and needs off of what we see.
Right.
It's like if you've never seen a big house before, you won't want a big house.
Right.
You just want a house. But we see something nice, and then we can picture ourselves in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's advertising in a nutshell. You just have to get the person to want what they see.
Very true.
And they do a great job at it. Like these the Instagram models.
Yeah.
They're all sponsored by Fashion Nova.
Right.
Fashion Nova's not giving them these free clothes just so they can look good. I mean, they're doing it so someone says, wow, maybe my body can look like that in these sweatpants.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the dream.
Yeah.
So it does get interesting with the way they manipulate us through advertising. And then we also have instances where you may say something.
Mm-hmm.
You may say, I need a new iPhone. And then you go on Instagram and then you see an ad for an iPhone.
Right.
And we think that's a coincidence, but we already know they do listen and they do data mining to get certain keywords and advertise to us.
Yeah.
And we agree to that when we scroll through all that long text and just click agree without reading anything.
Yeah.
We give up that right.
Absolutely.
So, we give up that right. So that's it. That's that. It's all advertising.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting.
Very indeed.
And I'm not saying that
mm-hmm.
I don't fall for that too, because I see things, on Instagram that I may end up buying. So it's everybody's involved.
Absolutely.
Everybody is getting trapped. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. So yeah, we're done with that segment. That was really quick. And I kind of want to head into segment 2, which is called Facing the Habit. But before I head into the segment, I kind of want to preface it with this quote actually from from a website, a different website, not The Guardian, but it says here, the reason lies in their nature when in regards to women, right? So as psychologist Eric B. Weiser states, social networks may create or reinforce narcissistic tendencies because they serve primarily as self-promotional platforms. However, the opposite may also hold true. More narcissists will be active on social media as these platforms allow them to engage in exhibitionistic, attention-seeking, and self-promoting behaviors. What do you think about that?
That's very true. Very true. I mean, most people, well, especially someone with narcissistic tendencies, they want to be the star of their own show.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, you get your own show, and it's your face. You can be whoever you want to be, and you can use your imagination. You can become anything.
Very true.
You can be a millionaire without $1 million on social media.
Yeah.
So it really does. I think it really does trigger a lot of mental illness. It even affects your emotions if you don't have a mental illness.
Yeah.
Because you have people that, as we said before, as humans, we naturally compare. And when you see people with certain things that you would like yourself, you may start to feel a certain way about that.
Very true.
Feel a negative way about yourself.
Yeah.
When going on social media, and I stopped, looking at other people's posts a few years ago for that reason, because I would go on social media, scroll down, you may see something. And then you may say, hey, why don't I have that? Or I'm trying to get that to that level.
Right.
And then you realize that you'll see certain things on social media and it'll ruin your entire day.
Very true.
You'll see it day's over, man. Screw this. Just because you saw a post on social media.
100%.
I don't like that kind of control on my life when it comes to a social media page. I'm not going to allow a social network to dictate my day. So I decided to not scroll through and watch other people's lives, because you just can't. I mean, it's like we said, you naturally compare.
Yeah.
You can't see someone on a vacation in Hawaii and say, man, I wonder what Hawaii's like.
Right.
If you've never been there, you're gonna say, wow, man, I want to be there too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just be wishing and hoping on other people's adventures.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. I'm with you there too. And it's interesting because, man, I remember there was a time in my life when I was in college, and we've talked about this a lot, where like I really, really stayed on social media all the time, and I was comparing myself to other people, And
yep.
I know that when I moved to Connecticut back in 2017, and I got a job as a teacher out here, it changed for me so much, because like at first I was trying to keep up with it while like trying to learn how to become a good teacher and like adapt to actually being a real true working professional and all that stuff. But then after a while I was like, all right, man, I'm kind of done with this year, because like honestly I can't even prepare for my for my students the way I need to. I'm not even doing the best job I know I possibly can, in regards to lesson planning and getting things ready and arranged in the classroom, because I'm on this. It's kind of like the more productive. I mean, it depends on. I guess it also depends on what kind of job you're in and what kind of field you work in. But like a job such as teaching, man, you already know. I mean, you've been into my classroom. You know how stressful it could be. Managing all those kids, all those personalities. Like it's a full-time job and then some. So I know for sure to prepare for a job like that, I need to make sure that I'm super, super prepared as much as I possibly can. So I cut out Facebook pretty much. Like, well, since then, honestly, I've cut it out completely. Like, I probably go on Facebook every year just to say, hey, thank you everyone for like, wishing me a happy birthday. I'm blessed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Or, other than that, maybe 2-3 updates per year. But man, I used to scroll down my Facebook timeline for hours when I worked at my desk job at Queensboro, man. I had nothing else better to do other than look at, and we talked about this on the episode 14, Art of Hate, with my other friend who used to work at BET, but I had I had nothing else better to do than to scroll down everyone who was within the 22 to 25 age bracket who had just gotten nice, bigwig fancy jobs or were going on nice swanky vacations, and just stare at their things for hours while I made my measly $11 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I would just stew and fester and like, oh man, this person's doing this, man. I'm just a bum, man. I just hope I never encounter these people, so that way I don't have to tell them what I'm actually doing. But then, once I became a teacher, it was just like, all right, you're making a little bit of money now, cool, good. You're doing whatever you have to do. But it was just like, like, how do I say this? Like, you don't have time to be like staying up like 2-3 in the morning looking at this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually really happy and proud of myself. Like, I've gotten a lot better in that category. So I only go on Facebook now to even just look at the Wise Guys page or my own personal page or Flower Concrete. But other than that, I've managed that pretty well. And Instagram too, I've actually gotten much, much, much better. But sometimes, I'm not going to lie, man, whether it's like the Insta stories, man, those things are very manipulative. They'll catch you, man. You might be on there for like a good 20 minutes. You're like, oh shit, I've kind of been looking at this for a while, So
yeah, man.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah, it's just so true. I mean, and you were doing that, going through. You said you were at work, going through these Instagram pages, and we don't even realize. And many people, may believe that they have depression, and many people do have depression, but sometimes we don't realize what's the trigger. And you could have been triggering yourself every single day.
That's
looking
true.
at this social media. And you weren't even accusing the social media of causing the trigger. You were just thinking it was your life, or yourself.
Yeah.
But it was you constantly comparing, like a ritual every day. You said it was a ritual.
Very true.
Every single day, and that's like almost, it's like we're harming ourselves and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
And then we say, and when people will say, "Oh, I'm getting off of social media for good. I'm done with it," and I think that's great. Especially if it's causing depression,
right,
or some type of comparison.
Yeah.
But then when they get receive an accomplishment, what do? They run to social media to post it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. So you gave up watching, but you're gonna give them something to watch? That's playing the game wrong.
Right.
You're still in that toxic mode. If you have to run back to social media to put your thing up because you need people to see. And you need 500 comments of people saying congratulations.
Right. Yeah.
And that's something we all have a problem with.
Right. It's true. Hey.
Because I guarantee, Kev. I mean, let's say, a blessing comes and we get hit with a mansion and a Benz. First thing is getting posted.
Without a doubt.
I've come a long way. God is so good. They saying God is so good, and they're not even talking about God. They just want people to. They just want to just throw salt on the wound for everybody. Man.
Pretty much. No, pretty much. You're absolutely 100% right, man.
Like,
no lies there.
God is so good to you, but not me. I feel you. It's all good.
No, 100%, man. No, you are
toxic, man.
Absolutely true, man. That is facts, my brother. 100% facts. Or even like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if this is petty of me or whatever, whatnot. But like, I mean, and Wise community. Come on, keep it real right now. Every single last one of you. I know we all do this. Sometimes, you'll see someone who you might be hating on, or maybe you just don't, maybe you're not hating on them. Maybe that's someone who's an acquaintance and you haven't spoken to them in years. So they're not really someone who you really like their photos on your timeline anyway. You just kind of scroll past, and then, you'll look at, a birthday post, I just want to thank God for another year of life and all this other stuff. And then everyone's saying happy birthday. And, it gets to the point where it's like, I'm saying happy birthday too. Obviously, oh, happy birthday, happy, that you're seeing another year of life. But then sometimes I'm saying to myself, like, you haven't posted up a picture in 7-8 months. Whether that matters or not, who cares? But, like, are we just saying it's our birthday just for acknowledgement? I'm like, man, this is crazy, yo. It's crazy sometimes. It's crazy.
It really is.
Right.
I don't get it. But unfortunately, we're all a part of this world that we don't understand, man. This whole social media thing.
100%. 100%. I'm telling you this right now, and I want you to hold me to it. But I guarantee you, as you know, this is the last episode of this very first season of The Wise Guys, and we're not coming back till August. I'm not sure what day, August 6th or 13th. I'll let you guys know as it gets closer, but I guarantee you, Mark, I know you've been seeing me over the past couple of months posting up all these stories more, than usual, whatnot, but I told myself, I made a promise that the moment this first season ends, I'm not posting anything, not even a story, until we come back to promote the second season, man. I'm just going to relax, take some time for myself, man. I need it, man, because sometimes you can kind of feel like a caricature of yourself, just trying to keep up with the Joneses, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. Sometimes I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
Just not keeping up with the Joneses, but just with social media and almost life.
Yeah.
It only highlight the great things.
Yeah.
You visit family on Thanksgiving. You go to Auntie's house. You're not going to go to that table and talk about everything bad going on. You're going to talk about everything good.
That's true.
And
that's very true.
Never bring up the bad. And then when you get up and leave, you gotta think about all the good you just talked about. When there's some stuff that's not working out.
100%. 100%.
That's when it becomes a bit, toxic.
Yeah.
But the thing is, shout out to all the people that post the negative and the positive things. Showing that there's balance in life, because going on social media, people only post the good stuff. So psychologically, your mind is saying, wow, only good things happen to this guy.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
There's nothing wrong. This is on top of the world.
Oh, yeah.
You just got to realize people are posting the highlight reel.
Right.
They're not posting anything bad. No one's going to post, bills that didn't get paid and this and that. They're just posting the vacations. So you just got to take what you see on Instagram with a grain of salt.
Right.
Because the Lambo that they're standing in front of might just be a car that they walked by in Soho. But in the picture you think, oh, this dude's got a Lambo now.
Right. It's true.
Yeah, man. And they won't say, I just got a new car. They'll say, living life.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You gotta leave it up to your imagination. Did this dude get a Lambo?
Right.
That's where it gets crazy, man. It gets crazy.
No, you're right. You're right, man. Did this dude get a Lambo? That's the first thing. It's so ambiguous. You really have to take your own mind and just kind of discern what they're trying to tell you. Like, wait, what are you saying? What are you telling me? Yeah, it's true.
Confusion. Ain't you?
Yeah, man.
I thank God I just stayed away from that toxic world. I'm not ready for all that, man. I'm old school.
Yeah, man. I hear that, brother. I definitely hear that. Excellent. Oh, man. We're just starting to warm up here. All right, cool. So our second segment here is called Facing the Habit. So this second segment, Mark, now that I really look at it, I'm going to throw the second question at you after we go through all of these profiles. But this second segment is more so geared towards the profiles of young women who are struggling with their own personal image on social media, man. You ready for it?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to start out here with a young lady by the name of Michelle Linker, who is 24 and from Toronto. And her caption starts off as, I absolutely feel insecure. All right, so check this out. So Michelle says, Mark, that, so these are all her words, right? So all of these are going to be pretty much from these women. I get serious FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out, with Instagram and with all social media. People are publicizing usually something really cool or fun that they're doing, or at least they make it appear that way. I absolutely feel insecure. I'm 24 years old. I'm a young professional in Toronto, but I have had Instagram since I was in university. Well, and university is their form of college. I do feel a pressure to look particularly good. I would never post a photo that wasn't flattering of me. I feel anxiety over how many likes I get after I post a picture. If I get 2 likes, I feel like, what's wrong with me? Some people judge Instagram by deleting photos that don't get enough likes. I wouldn't do that, but I would definitely second guess my intentions with posting them. Man, what do you think about that one, man, from Michelle?
Yeah, that's true. I think that's something that not everybody, but a lot of people go through.
Yeah.
Just the validation of the like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because especially if you have a large audience, your audience determines how good that picture is in some people's minds. You know? If it doesn't get enough likes, it wasn't a good picture in their minds. But yeah, we kind of leave them to judge. It's like, okay, it's like you're on a panel and all of your followers are the judge, and if you get a lot of likes, it was a good picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, if for someone that doesn't get a lot of these likes, this may definitely hurt their self-esteem, or the way they look at themselves. So it can definitely become a really negative thing in life, this social media with the likes and comments.
Yeah.
So it's true. I mean, even with the podcast, I mean, if there's a video that maybe doesn't get the amount of views as they normally get, we'll say, wow, I wonder why they didn't like this.
Right. It's true.
But even business, they think of it that way too. I mean, if your product is not getting enough attention, it's either you're not communicating the product correctly, or the people just don't like it.
Right.
They don't like the advertising. So I think people are looking at this Instagram and social media thing almost as a business. Yeah. And the followers are their audience or their community. Right. And they're allowing them to affect them emotionally.
No, it's interesting that you say that too, because I remember when I'm 29 now, and it's interesting because a lot of these women are young women dealing with this. I remember when I was 23, 24, 22. Thankfully, I can say I haven't. Well, obviously, and you know about it. I had a huge situation that kind of just changed my whole mindset and perspective, on life. So, which is why I kind of changed my social media habits completely. But a couple of years ago, 5-6 years ago, I remember there were times, when I would be like, oh man, everybody's posting something, and I just felt that innate pressure to post something too. Oh man, I got to post a crazy picture. I got to get some of that attention on me, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then just go and just try to post something, and then it not get enough likes and feels like utter crap. And then you're like, all right, well, this picture is going to absolutely do the trick. And then you post that picture, and it's like, oh, dang, man, that didn't get enough likes either. I'm like, all right, cool. Oh, what? You mean to tell me my degree came in the mail? Well, they have to like this one. They must. Everyone loves graduating from college, right? And then I post it, and immediately, instantly, 150 likes. I'm like, there we go. There's the validation I was looking for. There we go. Yep. There's the credit. Yep. Thank you, guys.
Better than the degree itself.
Yep. So it's interesting, but it's like, are you really doing this for the degree, or are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing it for a little bit of both? Are you not really being true to yourself? Why do you have to go online and flex that you got a degree to everybody? Everybody and their mama's getting one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think people know they're doing it. It's just so normalized.
Right.
You gotta post your degree.
Right.
You've got to. That's just the way it works. You gotta post everything.
Yeah.
You wearing your favorite outfit, you must post that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's strange, man.
But
it's just the era that we live in, this social media era, and this is all experimentation because all this is so new.
Yeah, it is.
Social media really came out in 2008 with Facebook.
Yep.
Not Facebook, MySpace. If I'm not.
Yep.
I don't know if
2007, 2008. Well, MySpace, I want to say 2004, but Facebook pretty much exploded 2007, 2008, 2010. So long did Twitter.
Yeah, this is all an experiment. And, they're going to learn the psychological effects of this, but it's going to teach them a lot. Psychologists, the way this is affecting the child's brain.
Yeah.
Having this from the moment they learn how to talk, they're handed an iPad.
That's what I'm saying. So, and it stop right there. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to harp on that point. Think about it. We still, you, Mark, right, myself, I'm gonna just shout out some of our guests who've come on the show before: Dominique, Gene, John, both Johns actually, Anthony. We all remember a time in our lives where we remember seeing cassette players, you know what I'm saying, CD players, you know, radios, you know, having to listen to a program on the radio and not watch it. You know, some of our parents even remember, like, you know, or grandparents or great grandparents remember during World War II just hearing about the bombings, you know, over the radio and not seeing any television or newscasts, whatever, whatnot, right? But now these kids, right? Think about it. If a kid was born in 2005, you know, like a lot of my students were born in 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, and they came of age in 2017, not of age, but like, you know, 11, 12 years old in like 2017, 2018, 2016, 2019. All they know during their teenage and formative years is social media.
Yeah.
We didn't have that, you know?
No.
I can still remember a day when we had to go buy our CDs or go to Blockbuster. And the kids would be like, if I told my students Blockbuster, they'd be like, "Mister, what are you talking about?" Yeah, I had to go to Blockbuster and rent and buy my movies, buy my VHS tapes. There weren't even DVDs or Blu-ray back then. Now there's Netflix and you can just order online and people can just quarantine and just chill.
It's crazy. I think social media will be drastically changed in a few years just because of the way that it affects the brain of children.
Right.
And then teenagers.
Right.
Because it's all an experiment right now. And when
Right.
they learn the side effects, it will be definitely reduced and it will be changed. Because if you look back into ads, you know, 100 years ago, there were ads in the newspaper with a pregnant woman with a cigarette in her mouth saying, "Cigarettes help with my cravings."
Mm-hmm.
You know? And
yeah.
At that point, cigarettes weren't experimented.
Right.
They didn't know that cigarettes would damage the fetus or the child.
Yes.
And the mother. So that there were actually women on, you know, in this newspaper with a cigarette smoking it. Saying,
yeah.
You know, this helps with my craving.
I've seen
yours.
it before. Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to be a change, I believe, because we're going to see the effects of this.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It's just amazing that it takes so long for us to learn that certain things are negative. Just like with asbestos in houses. They were building houses with this stuff, and then they realized it's a carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it causes cancer.
Yeah.
So now they're taking it out of houses. And lead paint. This was a thing they're painting on the walls.
Right.
You know, and then they realized, oh, this is something that's killing people. It's killing babies.
Yeah.
You got to take this out.
That's true.
So I believe the same with social media. They're gonna figure out a way to still monetize and advertise, but in a way that they can still preserve the emotional integrity of these children. Without a doubt.
Yep. And let's keep pushing here because I don't want this episode to drag, and I wanted to touch upon some of our additional topics before we close out. Lindsay Correa, I think is her name. She's 22 years old. Her caption on this site says, "I like having control." So Lindsay says, and quote unquote in her own words, "I use Instagram just to give people a glimpse into my life. And I like that I can show the parts that I want them to see and make them think I have a cooler life than I actually do. I like having that kind of control. I do feel pressured to appear a certain way. I would hate for people to think she looks totally different in person, but I would never edit anything to make it not look like me. I definitely feel that I have to look as good when I go somewhere as I do on Instagram. I feel more pressure in real life. I take at least 50 shots when I put up a picture. On a day I'm really dressed up and I'll edit it but make sure I'm true to myself. As much as I sometimes want to Photoshop, I don't. I try not to post too many selfies because I don't want people to think I'm super narcissistic, and I try not to post too many photos with drinks in hand. I do delete pictures that don't get enough likes. 140 likes for a selfie on average is what I look for, because I think I probably didn't look good enough for my followers." Man, sounds like Lindsay's going through a lot, man. 22.
That's real. I mean, that's one of the most honest statements I've heard in regards to social media, because that's what the majority of people believe. That's what the majority of people think.
Right.
But they're never going to admit that.
Yeah.
But it really does play on the insecurities of people, and it's just amazing that you was actually honest, because even if someone's not going to admit that they feel that way, deep down inside, it will help a lot of people. Because they'll be able to relate to that.
Yeah.
Even though they won't admit it, it's great to hear something like that you can relate to.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so that's wonderful that she was able to share that.
Definitely. And then this last person we're going to get into is a young lady by the name of Madeline, or Madeline, I think, Madeline. She's 24 years old. And her caption to her story reads, without Instagram, I'm free. So Madeline says, I had Instagram for about a week, but that was it. Without Instagram, I don't think that there's a pressure to look a certain way or to be doing the right thing or going to the right party. I'm more free doing what I want to do as opposed to what people want to see me do. I don't use Instagram because I think that it's just a superficial way for people to get validation through likes and followers. It can be a good tool if you need it for marketing or for promoting a business, but in terms of a social context, I much prefer meeting people in person. A lot of people do things just to put them on Instagram instead of actually living within the moment. When I hang out with people, that happens. People are always on their phones at dinner or have them in front of their faces to take a selfie. It's just not how I want to connect with people. Man.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, she's right. It's true. I mean, I'm not going to say Instagram is toxic. You know, Instagram is a great tool.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing with social networks they're tools for businesses.
Right.
But when you use them as a personal tool, sometimes it could become a bit negative.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask someone, I've never heard anybody say, I love Instagram, but everybody uses Instagram.
Right.
What do you love about it if you do love it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if I would ask you, what do you love about Instagram?
Oh man, I can answer you right away. What I love about Instagram is that as a creative, it allows me to have another creative outlet, and more so too when I post like my poetry photos and with like the captions of like, hey, a flower that rose, poem number 2, check it out. You know, just to give it that outlet. You know.
Right, just trying to gain exposure to your work.
Right.
But let's say you were just a regular working professional. You know, you weren't an artist, you weren't a poet, you weren't, the CEO of Flowered Concrete, and you were just a regular guy.
And can I be honest with you? If that happened to be the case, I couldn't even give you that answer right now because I couldn't fathom or see myself as that average person. But I will say this though, just trying to get that perspective of a person just working at a regular job and just doing his thing, I probably would be caught up in just trying to just do all types of things for attention. Like you said, posting by the Lambo, going on vacation saying, look how great and swell my vacation is, and just being a part of the norm, which is on social media right now, And I'm not saying that to try to separate or isolate myself from the pack and say that I don't, fall or deem myself to be susceptible to any of those things too. Because if I'm on vacation, I like to post in my story that I'm on my vacation with whether it's my family or my girlfriend, whatever, whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, since I have a product to push, I don't see it that way. But I can only imagine if I didn't, I'd probably be just that person. And if you asked me again, Mark, so what do you use social media for? I'd just probably say it's just cool. I just give you an average Joe, very superficial, very plain type of surface level answer. You know what I'm saying? It's true.
But you know what's crazy?
What's up?
They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know why they like it, but it's just I can't stop using it.
Right.
I'm not going to say it's like a drug, but I mean, likes cause dopamine in the brain.
It's true.
To drugs. So if you ask somebody that does drugs and they're addicted, and you say, why do you use drugs? You think they're going to be able to give you an answer? I just have. And that's a very serious thing. And I think, people that are addicted to drugs, I think it's tough because it's almost like it's a mental disorder. And but just to compare it to that, you don't a lot of people don't even understand why they like social media.
Well, I'll give you a better. I'll give you a better example. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like sometimes, and like I said, I don't post on Facebook. Like I said, I only log in there just to keep up with stuff on my business. But sometimes, man, it's so funny how we've been programmed to use social media. Sometimes I'll go on my phone, I'll go on Google to try to see if there's any new articles for me to read. Because Google pretty much has a whole entire algorithm set up for me in terms of what I like. And sometimes I'll find myself being completely bored just looking at my phone screen, and then I'll just tap I'll just grab my phone, I'll pick it up from off the table, and I'll tap the Facebook or the Instagram app. It's just like, wait, why? I'm not even trying to go in here right now. But our brains have been so programmed that that's some of the first things we've been brought up to tap.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep, they're in our brains.
Yeah, man.
Just like training us that you must click Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you go on your phone, now it tells you how many hours you've used certain apps.
Yeah.
Looking at. It's very interesting.
It is.
They really have us trained very well.
Agreed. They really, really do, man. But yeah, man. First and foremost, I just for the record, Wise community, I don't know any of these ladies, but when it comes to it, shout out to Madeline, Lindsay, and Michelle once again for sharing their stories to the Guardian, man. Because not a lot of women would be brave enough to step up and exactly say how social media, especially Instagram in this case, makes them feel. So shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing that they were able to write that for other people to read and relate to.
Yeah,
that's great.
For sure. So I want to move into our third segment of today's show, Mark, our third and final segment, which is, actually, we technically have 4 segments today. I want to get to our fourth segment, which is our thank yous for this season. But before we do, I kind of just want to officially close this episode out with the word to the wise before we hit our thank yous, man. So let's do it. Word to the wise. You want to go first today in regards to doing it for the gram and falling to the shortcomings or your own shortcomings of social media? Anything you want to say about social media and just being on it in general?
Oh yeah.
What's your word to the wise?
Yeah, my word to the wise would just be balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it's hard to really truly get off of these apps and not use them.
Mm-hmm.
Because we still want to keep up with family and friends, but just be aware how many hours you put into these apps, because it really is stealing our time.
Right.
And if it's affecting you emotionally, maybe perhaps muting the people on your timeline, so you can only see what you want to see.
Right.
Unless you want to see people's lives.
Yeah.
So if you like puppies and kittens and basketball, follow pages like that and mute everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not constantly, faced with, comparing yourself over and over.
Right.
That would really help.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really good. I actually want to follow up your word to the wise today with this word. I had another word in mind, but I'm actually going to go with options, right? You have options on social media. Going back to what you said, if you're someone who's into literature, such as myself, and you love nonfiction essays or nonfiction works that come from authors who write biographies or motivational pieces. Someone such as myself, I love watching Gary Vee and as well as Dr. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. Because I feel as if that gets my day going in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So if I am going to log on Instagram in the morning before I head out the house to go to work, whatnot, I'd rather hear something motivational, something that truly gets me going and truly gets me revved up, even if it's only once a week. So you have options. So when I say options, a lot of the things you see online, if you double tap on your explore page, Instagram will tell you that if you double tap, would you like to see more things similar to this? So if you're just tapping, basketball or football or booty pics, what do you think is going to pop up on your explore page? That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a whole bunch of women shaking their ass, or you're going to, see a lot of Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, and Giannis, Antetokounmpo posts. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see whatever it is that you truly desire to see in terms of things that get you going. So if you want to see a lot of things based on wealth and wealth investing and real estate, whatnot, as I'm sure you can attribute to, Mark, a lot of those things pop up in your IGTV stories and everything in that regards. So whatever it is that you want to see and you make it, you make that thing the thing that you want to be shown to you, it will be shown. So if you want a more positive page and a more positive type of community, because that goes back to what Mark said earlier. That's essentially what it is, a community. So if you want a positive community, trust me, you'll damn sure get a positive community. If you want a negative community, damn sure you'll get that. If you want a pornographic community, oh man, you'll get that too. So it depends on exactly what it is you're searching for,
Yeah, that's 100% true. That was amazing. That was great, man. That is so true.
Yeah, man.
It really is. And that, basically tell you. And then, some people say, yo, why does this keep popping up on? Because that's what you like.
Correct.
It's what you like, literally, as in you double tap these things, and it's what you like.
Very true.
Instagram's telling you about yourself.
Yeah.
When you look at your explore page, Instagram is showing you a mirror.
Yeah. It's true.
That's you. So if you want to change it, you have to really be cautious with what you double tap on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you're telling Instagram, this is what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so true, man. That was that was a great statement from you. That
No
was
doubt,
amazing.
doubt. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Man, that was our last word to the wise of the season, folks. Oh, man, really, really good one. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get a chance to close out the season in person. I really wanted to record, episode 24 and 25 in person, but it's all right, man. We're gonna come back better than ever for season 2 for sure. And so, Mark, right now, we're pretty much at the official part of the show. I just kind of wanted to like break down the show and give shout outs and whatnot. I don't want to ramble on for too long because I'm, keeping time of all this. I want to make sure that, we respect our listeners' time. But man, this was a really, really good first season, Mark, and we touched upon a lot of topics this season. And you kind of mentioned it earlier, judging by social media, some of the topics people were interested in, some of the topics people weren't. And now knowing that moving forward, I kind of see how we can kind of like, give people a mixture of what we want to do and as well as what they like, so that way it stays consistent moving forward. So I'm considering moving forward, like having each season be like its own theme and make sure that we stick to that theme, if that makes sense. With this season 1, man, I dubbed it the mixtape, man, because we kind of went all over the place, but we brought out a lot of good conversations that I thought people found to be very valuable and very, made very strong contributions to their lives. I guess I'll start with the milestones first, man. First and foremost, I want to shout out these 6 countries right here. The United States, obviously, our very own country. Shout out to Canada, specifically the provinces of Ontario and Quebec. Shout out to France, more so specifically locally Paris. United Kingdom, more so being England and the section of Nottingham. And then shout out to Ireland and Germany. Mark, these 6 countries, man, the U.S., Canada, France, the U.K., Ireland, Germany, man, the wise guys, man, we went global, man. 6 countries listening to us, man, that's a blessing.
That is amazing, man. I'm totally impressed with this season, and people from all parts of the globe tuning in is just that's really humbling right there.
Yeah, man. Me too. I really, really appreciate that. I remember when I sent you, and I'm gonna shout her out later again, but I remember I sent you the screenshot a couple months back of Venus from Paris saying that she listened to the show and she listened to episode 11, which was our Going Ghost episode, and she was like, "Hey, I listened to your episode Going Ghost, and it helped me out a lot, and I shared it with all my friends." And I remember you were like, "Wow, really?"
I think that was one of the best episodes in terms of such a strong message.
Yeah, agreed.
We really put a lot of passion into that one.
Yeah, agreed, 100%, 100%. And then when it comes to the U.S., just want to shout out a couple of these states. New York, all right, our very own state of New York and New York City in particular. Shout out to whoever's listening in Springfield Gardens and as well as South Ozone Park, although I think that's Sammy. Shout out to Sammy, my sister. Shout out to Howard Beach. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to the Bronx. We don't know who it is listening to the Bronx, but whoever you are listening in the Bronx or whoever you all are, we appreciate you guys. So shout out to you all. Yeah, shout out to West Hempstead, Long Island. Shout out to you all as well. You guys were listening and tuning in. Texas, shout out to Texas. Houston, man, 76% of Texas that's listening to us comes from Houston, man. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all a lot.
Yep.
Texas, our second biggest market after New York, actually. So shout out to Texas. Shout out to a good friend of mine, who I'll mention a little bit later. She's listening to us from DeSoto, so shout out to her. I'll mention her later. Shout out to Pennsylvania, Williamsport. Man, Patrick, I know that's you, bro. Shout out to Williamsport, Pennsylvania. They come in third in terms of the U.S. listening to us. So shout out to you, Pat, and whoever else is out in. Yes, to whoever's out there listening to us. Oh, Philadelphia too. So after Williamsport, Philadelphia is the next place in Pennsylvania that's checking us out. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, Connecticut, New Jersey, California, Michigan, Ohio, and there's a couple of other states, Arizona, and it goes on and on. Man, Mark, I'm blessed. We're blessed, man. I'm blessed. You're blessed. We're blessed. I can't believe that we got this far in terms of reaching the people.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, that's such an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because like we said, we had no idea people would be actually tuning in. I mean, we just wanted to really just build something and get our information out there.
Yeah.
So I think I'm happy about all these numbers.
Me too.
I think it was a tremendous success.
Me too. I agree with you. I want to move on to our guests. before we close out. Dominique Carson, who was on episode 4, which was Young and Broke 2. Anthony Harris, who was on episode 5, Black Educators Matter. And Anais Booker and Teresa Harrison, they were the young ladies who came on The Ambitious Life of Women, Mark. That was a pretty good combo.
Yes.
Jimmy Frederick, shout out to my boy Jimmy, one of my best friends. He was on Love Yours, episode 7. Gene Yao, who was on episode 8 with Mark and I, The Businessman. That was a good one. Shout out to my boy Raheem Wharton, who goes by Cash Sinatra as a rap artist. He was on episode 9, Too Cool for School. Mandy Velez, Mandy, we thank you so much. You were on episode 13, Young and Broke Part 3. And not only that, but also on our IG Live with you. I think the people got a lot of gems from you, so thank you for that. Francie Lusencourt, you were on episode 15, Bet on Yourself, thank you. My boys from CPA, alright, Carl Desir, alright, and Vitaly Chapman, they were on episode 16, Lost and Found, where we talked about, young men, looking and seeking role models in the community. Shout out to John McLeod from ESPN. Mark and I had a really, really good conversation with him about, business and sports and how politics play within business, within the sports world. So that was a pretty good episode. Shout out to Jermaine Meadows. I'm going to Christian and give you this nickname right now, Jermaine. You were on the episode Good Kid, Mad City. Shout out to our boy Jermaine Meadows, a.k.a. Power. If you listen to that episode of Power, you know exactly what we're talking about. So shout out to... Yeah, so shout out to you. Shout out to my boy, oh man, Jonathan Nicholas, man, my fellow Haitian brother, man. Oh man, Jonathan and Mark, man, had a pretty good exchange on episode 19. Is Kyle's worth it? He's like, that's fiction. Oh man. That was a good one. I think the Wise community really got not just a laugh, but a good overall lesson out of that one. Don't you think?
Absolutely. That was a beautiful episode.
Yeah, that was
just two different minds, man.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing to just go back and forth and just see someone else's perspective.
Oh yeah, man. That's also been one of our favorite, myself and yourself, our favorite episodes, and as well as everyone else who's tuned into it. They say that's their favorite one, so that's a good one. Shout out to Curtis, all right, my boy Curtis Slaughter Sincere. He was on episode 20, which was episode 20. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't think of it right now. Oh, A Case of Black and White. All right, so shout out to Curtis. Shout out to my boy Jerome Davis. He was on the episode This Is America with me and Mark, where we talked about government assistance and whatnot. That was a good one too. Shout out to my boy Andreas Coleman, aka Half a Bills, baby. All right, Andreas, we appreciate you. You are on episode 22, which was Is It Because I'm Black? And shout out to my homegirl Felicia Henry, the owner of the nonprofit Behind the Walls, Between the Lines, and she's also doing her PhD right now in sociology out in Delaware. Shout out to you, sweetheart. Her and her friend Ashley McLean, they were on episode 23. All right, episode 23. I forget the name of the episode, but the episode 23, it was in regards to the juvenile justice system. So shout out to those two. I know Mark couldn't make it for that episode, but we held it down pretty good. And then, shout out to Mark, yo, bro, you've been the best co-host I could possibly ask for, man. I really had a great time this season, just getting a chance to, pick your brain. I feel as if we became closer as friends, other than as like business partners doing this. And I feel as if like I got to know more of you as a person just by doing this show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been beautiful, man, going back and forth for I would say almost a year, almost 3/4 of a year, man, just picking each other's brains, hitting all different topics.
Yeah.
I know in person we always cover hundreds of topics, but I think this podcast allowed us to go deeper and even get the opinions of others so that we have a much more diverse, group thing.
Right.
So, man, it's been beautiful.
For sure. And this podcast actually started out by us having a conversation in a restaurant and seeing some dudes were actually listening to the passion and like the things we were talking about. And I think just by then we knew we had something there, man. We were like, man, our conversations are magical. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, just the fact that, that we were actually correct. When you I remember when you brought the idea of a podcast to me, you were just, you were speaking about it and what you wanted to build. Man, at first I was thinking like, man, I don't know if anybody would listen to us, but like when we saw the guys in the restaurant, it was like, yeah, that is a bit of confirmation. We may have something to offer here.
Yeah.
So it's been great, man. I appreciate every episode, and looking forward to more for sure.
For sure. Before we close out, a couple of things, a couple more minutes, Wes. I mean, we're not going to hold up too much of your time. Just one thing I'm going to ask you, Mark. If you could just say one episode that really sticks out to you, one episode in regards to you, me, and the guests, which episode would that be, or which guest stuck out to you the most?
I'd have to say Gene.
Oh, Gene, yes.
Business.
Yeah, man, that was a good one.
It was just good to go really deep into it because I believe we were speaking of business and just how black people can come together and build something. Is it possible for us to attain this large corporation status? You know what I mean? Like actually building true businesses and having free business minds such as you, me, and Gene just getting together and giving our thoughts and opinions, man.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that we need to do more often.
Without
not
a doubt.
just on podcasts, but in general. Just as black men, just coming together and just strategizing.
Agreed, 100%.
As hard as it is. Yep.
No, it is. And for me, I mean, there's so many different episodes to pick out here, from Jermaine to Jonathan to man, I just so much, man. Jerome, there's just a couple here, man. But I think for me, man, it was, I'm going to put it to you this way. I think it was Anais and Teresa, man, when we had the conversation about, the WNBA, NBA, and we basically talked about gender roles between a man and a woman, and how, it would work in terms of them, dating, marrying, and like working with each other, whether they got involved in a business perspective or not. And then also too, man, I didn't think it was going to be huge at the time, but man, the whole break the clock thing, man, that was pretty cool, man. A lot of people on social media bit into that, man.
Absolutely, that was great.
Yeah, for sure, that was really, really good. And last but not least, before we go, I just want to shout out all of our supporters. All right, let's see. Let me run through their names here. We have Athena from Mass. We have Sabrina from North Carolina. Sabrina, thank you so much. You really have been tuning into the podcast and checking us out. We really, really appreciate you. So thank you for always supporting us and for checking us out. Thank you, and for always leaving insightful comments on our social pages. Let's see. Tazia. Oh, man. Shout out to you, sweetheart. She actually gave us the idea for episode 12. She actually pitched her thoughts for episode 12, or gave us the conception for the idea for episode 12, which was the parenthood, where we talked about parenting and black parenting and it being a political act or not. So shout out to Tazia. And also, come to find out, she also told me, too, that she actually has family that lives in Enfield, which is only about 13, 14 miles away from me. About 15 minutes out. So not too bad. So shout out to Tazia for sure. And she also pitched some thoughts to us, Mark, for season 2. So, I appreciate that. I appreciate when our supporters and our fans get engaged with the content, because you all are just as important and are a huge contributors to the community as well. So whenever you guys can give us your thoughts, we truly appreciate it. Christina, shout out to you. Shout out to Venus from Paris, France. We appreciate you. We mentioned you before. Shout out to Taishan. Shout out to Dr. Lisa Wisniewski from the Progress Not Perfection podcast, and also a co-worker of mine at Goodwin University. Thank you so much for allowing me to come onto your podcast, to talk to you, to promote the Wise Guys, and also for being such a dear, great colleague and friend. Shout out to my CPA co-worker, Larry Bowers. We appreciate you. And shout out to Jackson from the Modified Gentleman podcast. Thank you as well for, going back and forth as we both started our podcast around the same time. And hopefully the Wise Guys can do a collab sometime down the line with the Modified Gentleman at some sort of junction or something like that. But we'll figure it out when that time comes.
Definitely.
But other than that, Mark, is there anything else you'd like to add, man? Or?
No, it's been perfect, man. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Me too. Season 2, man. Oh, man. I've already started coming up with some ideas. I know Mark has got some ideas. We got some great content and ideas coming down the pipeline for you all for season 2. But as of right now, this is the last week, of the podcast. Okay, June 23rd, I think it is. And we are going to take a break and a pause right here as we all, ourselves included, and you all too, Wise Community, need to take the time out to enjoy the summer as it is, all right? We've been affected and impacted by a very detrimental year so far with this COVID-19 case and everything else that's happening in the world. So we want to take the time to enjoy the summer, press reset, and just, do whatever it is that makes us happy. So we will be back to you all in a couple of weeks, in about 6-7 weeks time. Whether it's August 6th or August 13th, I'm thinking it'll be August 13th. We will be back in action for season 2 of the podcast, both Mark and myself, with a brand new slate of content and a brand new slate of guests, as well as some returning guests as well that we truly enjoyed this season. So we can't wait to see you then. It'll be really, really good, and I think that when we come back, we'll be refreshed and in person and ready to go, hopefully.
Definitely, I'm ready. I'm all ready for it, man. I know we've been speaking about a lot of ideas already, and that nice break during the summer will definitely be a nice refresh for us to be fully charged and ready to go. So it's exciting, man, for sure.
Without a doubt. So for the final time this season, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, this is your boy Kevin Anglade,
and this is Mark Pruden,
and we are the Wise Guys Podcast. Have a great summer, and we'll see you all next season.